Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News on India's Voice to the World. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Protests by minority communities in Bangladesh catch global attention. Groups in United States and other countries condemn atrocities against minorities. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi releases 109 high-yielding, climate-resilient and biofortified varieties of crops. Farmers say new varieties will be highly beneficial. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar inaugurates Adu Reclamation Project and Adu Shore Protection Project in Maldives. After allegations by US-based short seller Hindenburg, SEBI's chairperson Madhavi Puri Puch, husband Dhaval Puch, deny allegations, says allegations baseless and devoid of any truth. Latest poll says US Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris is leading her Republican rival former President Donald Trump in 3 battleground states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania and Michigan by 4 points. In Bangladesh, recent violence seen amid the takeover of the interim government following Sheikh Hasina's resignation has drawn global outrage. At the United Nations headquarters, people protested to demand protection for Hindus and other minorities. The United Nations has also condemned the recent attacks on Hindu minorities in Bangladesh. In Washington, D.C., demonstrators gathered outside the White House and called on the American authorities to condemn the atrocities. Protests are also being held in UK's capital, London. The demonstrators demanded protection of Bangladeshi Hindus. Protests even happened outside the BBC headquarters with an aim to draw attention towards global media on the attacks that are happening in Bangladesh on Hindu minority community. Widespread violence has been reported against Hindus in Bangladesh after the fall of Sheikh Hasina government. Updates from neighboring nation of Bangladesh. Thousands of minority community members staged massive protest rallies in Bangladesh's capital and Chittagong on Saturday, the second consecutive day demanding protection amid nationwide vandalism that saw attacks on temples and their households and businesses. The continuing violence comes as a massive challenge for the interim government in the country, which was sworn in on Thursday under the leadership of Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus. On Friday, Bangladesh Hindu, Buddhist, Christian Oikya Parishad sent an open letter to the head of interim government, Muhammad Yunus, expressing concerns over violence against the minorities.
Using the means of revolution, Bangladesh will create its new dawn of victory, keeping this vision ahead.
Professor Muhammad Yunus condemned on Saturday the attacks on minority communities, calling them heinous. He urged youth of the country to protect families of minority communities from harm. Hundreds of Hindu demonstrators took to the streets of capital Dhaka, protesting against attacks on their properties in different corners of Bangladesh after the fall of Sheikh Hasina's regime last week. Meanwhile, India is closely monitoring the developments in Bangladesh. The 2,000-kilometer border between West Bengal and Bangladesh is vulnerable due to political unrest in Dhaka, prompting the border security force to be on high alert. After interim government took charge of the government in Bangladesh as a result of protests by students, the Bengali-speaking nation is seeing a series of resignations from top posts. Latest in the series is Bangladesh Bank Chief Abdul Rauf Talukdar's resignation. Bangladesh Bank is the apex bank in the country that also regulates its overall banking sector. His resignation is yet to be announced as accepted. He was appointed as the bank chief in 2022 by the then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Professor Shibli Rubaiyat ul-Islam also resigned in this series. This is the body that regulates stock market of the nation. Bangladesh University Grants Commission Chairman Professor Qazi Shahidullah has resigned from his post. Along with him, Vice Chancellor of Dhaka University, that was the epicenter of the students' movements, also resigned, following by his counterpart in Shahjalal University of Science and Technology. In between, Bangladesh has got the new Chief Justice Saeed Refat Ahmed. He has replaced former Chief Justice Obaidul Hassan, who had resigned on Saturday. 5 other judges have also tendered their resignation in the aftermath of the protests. The Commonwealth Journalists Association, in a letter to Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the head of the interim government of Bangladesh, strongly urged him to take swift action to ensure the physical safety and secure working environment for journalists and media outlets in Bangladesh, who in recent days have experienced serious physical attacks and acts of intimidation. The letter further stated that a free media, which is protected by law against acts of violence and intimidation, is essential for a healthy democracy. Former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, who is currently in India, in an interview to Economic Times, has accused the USA of ousting her from power for not handing over of St. Martin Island that would have enabled them to have sway over the Bay of Bengal, and cautioned Bangladeshi nationals not to get manipulated by radicals. Hasina justified her resignation to avoid further violence and urged Bangladeshi citizens not to fall prey to radical manipulation. She expressed sorrow over the ongoing violence and leadership killings in Bangladesh, reaffirming her commitment to the Awami League and her hope for the country's future. Hasina also denied inciting student protests, claiming her words were misrepresented. All right. I've been joined by DD India's Amritpal Singh from Newsroom, and I also have Kunal Shinde, who is joining us from Agartala to talk more on this. First to you, Amrit. First update, what is the situation like in Bangladesh right now as minorities demand protection there, with apparently Muhammad Yunus, the leader of Bangladesh's caretaker government, unequivocally condemning the ongoing attacks?
That's right. Muhammad Yunus has made an appeal. In fact, he's tauntingly asked this question to the people attacking, saying that you've saved your country. Can't you save a few families? Clearly, in a rhetorical way, saying that we need to protect the minorities there. Because, as you said, in Dhaka and in Chittagong, hundreds and thousands of minorities, basically primarily Hindus, but also Buddhists and Christians, have come out saying that they need protection. In fact, they're demanding about a 10% reservation in the parliamentary seats. But that's more of a political demand. The question right now is how the minorities can be protected. According to some reports, there are minorities lined up along the Indian border who want to come into India. But because the border crossings have been sealed as of now, about a curfew 200 meters inside of Indian territory has been imposed. So right now there is no land crossing over taking place because of the precarious situation there. So the situation there remains tense. Their advisor for Home Affairs, who's primarily the acting Home Minister, has said that he hopes the situation would get under control in the coming 3 to 4 days, where he also asked the police to go back to the police stations and join their police stations, given the fact that about 42 policemen have been killed in attacks so far. So, police also is under attack. So they're basically trying to tell both sides to soothe tempers, to calm down at the moment, go back to their homes from the streets so that normalcy can return. But the situation still, both on the roads of Dhaka and also in the hinterland, remains precarious. Siddharth?
Indeed. Amrit, stay with us. Let me go across to a correspondent, Kunal Shinde, who's there in Agartala. Agartala, viewers, is right near the border with Bangladesh and has an integrated checkpost, or ICP, as well. Kunal, tell us, what is the situation of where you are right now, and also how the security forces are coping up with the situation?
Yes, Siddharth. Right now, I am at the zero line of the Indo-Bangla border at Akhaura checkpost, integrated checkpost, and situation over here is not only normal, but it is cool and calm. As we can see, I am right at the border, so you can see behind me there is a Bangladesh territory starting, and passenger movement is taking place since morning as usual in a very normal conditions. Security has been tightened obviously with the prevailing situation in Bangladesh. The BSF personnel are thoroughly checking the passport, the visa, and all other essential documents required for the access from this country to that country and from that country to India. So there is no lapse of security anywhere. The Inspector General of BSF, Mr. Piyush Patel Purushottam Das, he is visiting the border areas. Today he is in Dhalai district. Bangladesh and Tripura shares around 856-kilometer long border. Across the border, the BSF personnel have been positioned. Security has been beefed up. Passenger movement is taking safe in a very normal way. But the tourist visa, as we came to know that India is not as of now, India is not giving any tourist visa to the Bangladeshis. But those who want to come for the medical treatment, there are large number of people who come to India for the medical treatment. From this is basically because Dhaka is very near from Agartala, barely 260 kilometers. So people residing in Bangladesh, they prefer to come to Agartala, and from here on they go to Kolkata for the medical treatment. Also, we came across some families who went for the engagement, like for their family engagements, like a wedding was there, so a Hindu family was there, so we spoke to them. So they have gone to the Bangladesh side, and the situation is fairly normal in this particular ICP at Agartala.
Okay, Kunal, stay with us. I'll come back to you. Amrit. At this point, we are witnessing.
Can I stop you here for a moment and ask you to ask Kunal if Bangladeshis are coming into India at the integrated checkpost that he is at the moment, and who are these Bangladeshis, and has he been able to speak to them? That are there any Bangladeshi immigrants, especially from minority communities, wanting to come into India on the other side?
Kunal, did you hear Amritpal's question?
Yes,
go ahead.
I did hear him.
Go ahead.
Since morning and since last few days, we are tracking this news, and the thing is, like people mainly from the people who are coming to India, they are mainly coming for the medical treatment. We did not come across any family as such who belong to the minority Hindu family residing in Bangladesh. But just a few days back, like 3 days back, a large number of laborers who are who were stranded in Bangladesh. So they wanted to come towards the Indian side. They were the Indians, so they wanted to come towards the Indian side. So the integrated checkpost, the Land Ports Authority, and the BSF and the BGB, that is Border Guard of Bangladesh, they helped these 17 stranded laborers to come across towards the Indian side. And mainly people from India who like basically the Bangladesh who are residing who have come for the medical treatment and other purposes over here, they are going to their homeland, and those who are coming towards the Indian side, they are mainly coming for the medical treatment.
Okay.
Siddharth?
Okay, fair enough. We got a sense of what is happening in Agartala, Amrit, and where correspondent Kunal Shinde is. Now back to you. At this point, I was asking, we are witnessing a series of resignations in Bangladesh, Amrit. Whether it's Bangladesh Bank Chief, he resigned. Bangladesh Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman, he resigned. Bangladesh University Grants Commission Chairman resigned. The administration is being changed. Amrit, what impact it will have inside the country, and also taking in account the safety of minorities there?
Well, it's clearly a political act. After the interim government came in, the string of resignations that you see, though they have their individual reasons, different reasons, but primarily these are people who were seen as appointed by Sheikh Hasina, and hence, loyalists of Sheikh Hasina. So in some cases, there is apprehension, just apprehension about that. But in some cases, there were direct appointments by Sheikh Hasina. So this is more of a political act. At some would even call an act of vengeance that's sort of taking place. But there is a string of resignations. For example, the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice and the 5 judges of the Supreme Court who resigned yesterday was related to that the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court had called a meeting, had called a court, a full court, and there were apprehensions that he may declare the interim government as illegal. That's when Students Against Discrimination marched right up to the Supreme Court, gherowed the Supreme Court, and gave an ultimatum to the Chief Justice to resign. So he, along with 5 judges, had to go. So it's the kind of changes, or say the Vice Chancellor of the Dhaka University, because he was seen as cracking down on the students' movement during Sheikh Hasina's regime over the past 2 months, about a month and a half that the protests were taking place. So it is reprisal, it is retribution to some extent, but I think it is really a political act that these changes are taking place across various institutions in the country, Siddharth.
Okay, Amrit, we also heard that Sheikh Hasina has said that United States could be behind her ouster. Can you verify?
That's right. She, in a statement which was issued to multiple media outlets here in India where she is, she did make such a statement saying that she believes that the US could be behind her ouster. Remember, before the elections in January this year, she had, referred to a white man meeting her and saying that the Americans wanted an air base. So she's leveled similar allegations. One doesn't know whether they are true or not, but there have been reports that there was some kind of meddling, or at least these are the allegations, and Sheikh Hasina herself has made that allegation that they wanted me, had I given St. Martin and Bay of Bengal to the Americans, they would have let me be. These are allegations by Sheikh Hasina. But she also interestingly tried to address the constituency back home. She said, I never called the students Razakars.
Okay.
Now, Razakars, as you know, is a defamatory term in Bangladesh. So she's trying to reach out to some constituency, I guess. She's trying to test waters. That's my understanding.
Okay.
She's trying to test waters, that is there some political space left for her. She makes an assertion that she will return back to her country. Siddharth?
Wonderfully put, Amrit. Thank you so much, Amrit Pal Singh and Kunal Shinde, for your analysis. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In an intense encounter, 2 Indian Army soldiers martyred in Jammu and Kashmir. Search operation underway. Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is in Nepal, inaugurates new building of Nepal Bhasha Parishad.
This summer, the world turns its eyes to Paris, and DD India brings you every heartbeat, every victory, and every story. Introducing our special coverage of the Paris Olympics. Experience the passion, the drama, and the triumphs. With exclusive reports, expert analysis, and up-to-the-minute updates. Join us as we bring the spirit of the Olympics to your screens.
Get ready for the ultimate sporting extravaganza on DD India.
DD India presents Champions Day Paris. Only on DD India. Every day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. As part of the government's plan to revitalize agriculture and boost food security, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi released 109 high-yielding, climate-resilient and biofortified varieties of crops in New Delhi. Out of 109 varieties, 34 are field crops and 27 horticultural crops. Among the horticultural crops, different varieties of fruits, vegetable crops, plantation crops, flowers and medicinal crops were also released. PM Modi also interacted with the farmers and scientists during the event. Prime Minister stressed on the significance of value addition in agriculture. The farmers said that these new varieties will be highly beneficial as they will help reduce their expenditure. From lab to land is the vision of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is to meet the challenges of climate change. At the Pusa Institute in Delhi, PM Modi launched 109 varieties of climate-resilient crops. DD India correspondent Vishal Barreto spoke to the Deputy Director General of the Horticulture Department in Pusa.
If you're a sweet tooth, then this is for you. Well, this is cocoa pod and chocolates are made out of it. But this is not the only thing that are put on display here. As you can see, there are mangoes, there are potatoes, tomatoes, legumes, and even flowers. These are all 40 different crops. They are climate resilient, and I have with me the Deputy Director General of the Horticulture Department here in Pusa. These are climate resilient. What do you mean when you say that these are climate resilient?
Climate resilient, when I say that, these are those crops, they are smart crops. Rather, they can grow in low moisture condition. They are disease and pest tolerant, and also they will give the almost similar yields even if the climate shift is there, extremes are there. So they can endure those changes and they can yield better. Their quality doesn't get lost, and also they can be made into processable types and they can go into different forms.
There are two terms used very often, iron fortified and zinc fortified. So what is, in a layman's language, what is iron and what is zinc fortified?
See, horticulture crops per se, they are rich in, I should say, micronutrients and different, I should say, amino acids and other vitamins. So as a result, these micronutrients which are now deficient in Indian food, so these are there in these horticulture crops as well as field crops where the levels are high, which can replenish the daily requirement.
From here to a common man's plate, how long will that take?
These we are taking new models now. One is through our research institutes, which will be multiplying the seeds and the planting material. Now recently you might be knowing that Clean Plant Program, a very big 1700 crore project, has been launched by Honorable Prime Minister. I mean, the money has been allotted. It is going to be launched this year, and we are doing it in another 7-8 years. That healthy plant material will be produced all over the country. Then apart from ICR, our KVK, National Seeds Corporation, State Seeds Corporation, government and state government nurseries, and also entrepreneurs are coming. This we are trying to do it in the PPP mode, where the seed production can happen in a scientific mode.
So there you heard from the Deputy Director General, and these are the people who would be playing a crucial role in getting these mangoes in your drawing room and on your dining table. With cameraman Anantnag in Delhi, this is Vishal Barreto for DD India, Pusa.
And DD India's Vishal Barreto joins us to give more information on this. Hello Vishal, we just saw your wonderful report in which it was clearly explained that why it's called climate resilient and all other terminologies. Now Vishal, as part of the government's plan to revitalize agriculture and boost food security, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi released 109 high-yielding, climate-resilient, like you've just mentioned, and bio-fortified varieties of crops. What more are you getting for us?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Siddharth. Yes, indeed, we need to understand one thing, that India is now having the largest population in the world, and to cater to the food requirement of the country, we needed to address this problem and address it urgently, and that is why today Prime Minister, while releasing these varieties, made it very clear that it is going to fulfill two aims. One, to enhance the income of the farmer, because climate change is a very big challenge, and when you have extreme conditions, the farmers are the worst hit. And second thing is to give the population nutritional food. Now these are all bio-fortified. What is the meaning of bio-fortified? It means that the nutritional density of the crop is maintained. So these crops will be full of nutritional values. Now it would help to increase your nutrition in your plate, and also it would not be requiring the pesticides that are harmful for humans.
They will be very healthy that way. Vishal, farmers said that these new varieties will be highly beneficial. Can you tell us how?
Well, when we say that these are bio-fortified, one thing is very much clear, that the farmers do not require pesticide, less of water, and they are capable of taking on any climate shift. So whenever there is excess of rainfall or excess of heat, the heat wave is there, the crops, especially wheat and rice, are the worst affected, which cater to our zinc and iron requirements. Now these crops, they are resistant, they are climate resilient crops, and that is why it would help the farmers, and it can grow in extreme conditions also, and it can take on all the challenges that weather has to offer. So definitely it is going to help the farmers, and then it is connected through midday meals. Now when we are saying midday meals in all the government run institutions and schools, the children would get healthy food in their midday meals. So this is going to be a very good step, in fact a revolution, not only for India, because I spoke to the agriculture minister and he said that the aim of the country is not only to satisfy or to fulfill the demands of the country, but also to become the world's food basket.
All right, thank you so much, Vishal, for your analysis. India's consistent and continued support to Maldives in its quest for progress and prosperity has been once again demonstrated with the inauguration of Adu Reclamation Project and Adu Shore Protection Project. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar inaugurated these projects in Maldives. These projects will contribute to the development and prosperity of the people of Adu city. Addressing the gathering along with Maldives Foreign Minister Musa Zamir, Jaishankar said that Maldives for India is a key partner in the Indian Ocean region and is at the heart of India's neighborhood first policy. He added that India's development partnership is aimed at touching all facets of people's lives in Maldives.
For us, is a key partner in the Indian Ocean region. It is very much at the heart of our neighborhood first policy. And it is therefore very natural that the cooperation between our two countries has moved beyond the traditional role and today really aspires to be a modern partnership. Our development cooperation is aimed at touching all facets of people's lives here and to find ways of bringing tangible benefits to their lives. And it is really, in many ways, I think, a statement in itself that we are today among the largest trading partners of Maldives.
India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri and Nepal's Ministry of Urban Development jointly inaugurated the new building of Nepal Bhasha Parishad in Kathmandu that is being built under India's post-earthquake reconstruction grant. In keeping with Prime Minister's call of Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam or Plant for Mother campaign, Foreign Secretary planted a sapling of Nili Gulmohar at Indian High Commission in Nepal. Earlier, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was warmly received by Secretary Lamsal at the Tribhuvan International Airport in Kathmandu. The visit is in keeping with the tradition of regular high-level visits between both the countries. And 2 Indian Army soldiers were martyred in an encounter with terrorists in North India's Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag on Saturday. Inspector General of Kashmir V.K. Birdi said on Sunday that the operation is underway in the upper reaches of Gagar Mandu area of Kokanag in Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag district. In a latest, a civilian has also succumbed to injuries, bringing the death toll in the ongoing operation to 3. Communication is hampered due to the challenging terrain. Search is underway to apprehend the terrorists. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In a precise operation on Saturday night, Israeli forces killed 19 alleged Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists. Russia stated that its army continued to repel attempts by Ukrainian forces to enter Russian territory.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. and a quick recap of the headlines. Protests by minority communities in Bangladesh catch global attention. Groups in United States and other countries condemn atrocities against minorities. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi releases 109 high-yielding, climate-resilient and bio-fortified varieties of crops. Farmers say new varieties will be highly beneficial. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar inaugurates Adu Reclamation Project and Adu Short Protection Project in Maldives. After allegations by US-based short seller Hindenburg, SEBI's chairperson Madhavi Puri Butch, husband Dhaval Butch deny allegations, says allegations baseless and devoid of any truth. Latest poll says US Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris is leading her Republican rival, former President Donald Trump, in 3 battleground states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania and Michigan by 4 points. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI's chairperson Madhavi Puri Butch and her husband Dhaval Butch have denied the allegations made by US-based short seller Hindenburg. In a statement, the couple said that their lives and finances are an open book and that all disclosures have already been furnished to SEBI over the years. They added that they have no hesitation in disclosing any and all financial documents. The couple also said that Hindenburg Research, against whom SEBI has taken an enforcement action, has chosen to attempt character assassination in response to the same. Indian multinational conglomerate, the Adani Group, has issued a statement on the Hindenburg report. It has stated that the latest allegations by Hindenburg are malicious, mischievous and manipulative. Selections of publicly available information to arrive at predetermined conclusions for personal profiteering with wanton disregard for facts and the law. We completely reject these allegations against the Adani Group, which are a recycling of discredited claims that have been thoroughly investigated, proven to be baseless and already dismissed by the Honorable Supreme Court in January 2024. The Adani Group has reiterated that overseas holding structure is fully transparent, with all relevant details disclosed regularly in numerous public documents. The group has said that it has no commercial relationship with the individuals or matters mentioned in the calculated deliberate effort to malign a standing and remain steadfastly committed to transparency and compliance with all legal and regulatory requirements. Meanwhile, Hindenburg's own credibility is in question. Let's tell you why Hindenburg's credibility is something which needs to be probed thoroughly. As far as investigation and notice is concerned, Hindenburg Research, known for short-selling reports, is now under investigation by Indian agencies. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has issued them a notice. After being investigated, Hindenburg has attacked SEBI's chairperson, thereby raising questions about their motivations and credibility. In January, the Supreme Court gave Hindenburg a clean chit in short-selling case, which provided some legal clarity but didn't completely resolve the controversy. Hindenburg made a profit of 183 crore through short-selling Adani Group shares. They bet on decline in Adani share prices. Role of Kingdom Capital. Hindenburg entered into a short-selling agreement with Kingdom Capital, which received an exclusive draft report from Hindenburg about Adani. This report was used to influence Adani's share prices. Connection to China. Kingdom Capital CEO Mark Elliott Kingdom has a connection through his wife to Chinese Communist Party, adding a global dimension to the controversy. George Soros funding. Fund manager George Soros publicly funded the short-selling reports, further complicating the situation as Soros's investments have previously been linked to market manipulation. All right, and to talk more on this, joining me in the broadcast is Dr. Charan Singh. He is an eminent economist and CEO Agro. Sir, first of all, a very warm welcome to the broadcast. I would like to start by what Madhavi Puri Butch and her husband Dhaval Butch said on the allegations made by Hindenburg. They completely denied the allegations and they said it's baseless and devoid of any truth. How do you react to it and the matter that transpired?
my first reaction to the whole story about 2 days back, when it was that there's something going to be a big bang on India, I was again skeptical. Because the track record of this Hindenburg is, I don't know why anybody who's very successful, especially in a young country like ours, young I say because we are now growing at a very fast pace and we are catching up with the Western world, they're always finding flaws, they're always finding some challenging thing. Now the Adani thing, which had been discussed at length, had been discussed threadbare in our country. The Supreme Court had gone into it and examined every aspect of it, and we thought the matter is about to rest now and it is over. And the Indian economy, which is doing roaring after all the big challenges that happened since 2008 and the COVID, and even after the Russia-Ukraine war, the only country in the world which is growing at blasting pace of 7%. I again find that now, when we have recovered and the economy is doing well despite the elections behind us, suddenly something new is coming up. And all this connection back to the Adani group. So to me, I do not know and I cannot understand why some of these companies do not understand that India is the bright spot. And to allow it to continue to be the bright spot, I think we are serving as engine of growth for the rest of the world. We are also providing different scope to different countries in our own country. I think these sort of attacks, I would say, are a little motivated, and I don't see anything useful in it. When it comes to the SEBI chairman, I can tell you the process in the country in selecting any public servant is extremely rigorous. Everything is studied, everything is examined, and only then somebody, and the SEBI chairman today has just not been brought in as a SEBI chairman. She has been a member of SEBI for a couple of years. When the economy is growing and there are challenges, SEBI of course has to take some such challenges by the horn and could be making decisions which may not be very comfortable to every stakeholder. That doesn't mean that you start attacking the chairman of a regulatory body like this. To my mind, SEBI has worked as a regulator far better than many other regulators in the world, including that in the US. And all this has happened while the current chairman was the member of SEBI. So therefore, these allegations to me really look baseless. I'm really surprised at the timing of these allegations. And I'm also surprised at the type of allegations that have been put in terms of the three major allegations that are going on there. As far as the statement of denial from the SEBI chairman is concerned, I'm very comfortable when both the couple have declared that we are an open book. And I can tell you that all the details are clear.
All right, Dr. Charan, what are your views when it comes to the credibility of report by Hindenburg? Past incidents show that it is questioned by different bodies time to time. And like you were also mentioning, they come up with something new every time they see someone is progressing.
Exactly. That is the biggest challenge that I am finding. As the country is making progress on economic growth, as the country is climbing up the ladder, as the growth rate is increasing in the country, and the country is coming out something to reckon with, despite such a difficult, challenging election that we have seen, and different ideologies and different stories that were created during the election phase, despite all that, the country has come out very victorious, emerged as a very safe country, very safe for investment, and the continuity that has been provided. This sometimes becomes a challenge for many other investors as well as others across the world to handle how is India growing at that pace. Let me bring you to what happened between America and Japan. If you Google and see Louvre record, 1980s, when Japan was trying to catch up and become the fastest growing and the richest country on the planet, Japanese firms were facing exactly the same type of situation. Now, I find that the SEBI, which has been an astounding regulator, and you know our regulators are very, very good and thorough, and continent-sized country they are handling, when you find that the regulator is doing a fabulous job, suddenly you find this sort of a report coming up, and then you start character assassination. I think this is misplaced, and I think the government of India should take a serious note of it and say, look, you cannot do this sort of a thing. The country is growing, the country is providing opportunities to the rest of the world along with it, and that should be celebrated, rather than at every point you try to malign a country.
Dr. Charan, before you joined in on the broadcast, we just showed why Hindenburg's credibility is something which needs to be probed thoroughly. Do you think somewhere this is a hidden agenda? There is a hidden agenda behind it? A propaganda?
Exactly.
Time and again they level allegations which are in fact questioned, like I said, by different bodies.
That's the point exactly I am making in the last 5 minutes. I am saying, you are questioning the chairman who has been a member of one of the best regulatory bodies of the world. It has done regulation in the country which is the size of a continent. It has regulated entities which are there listed on 2 major stock exchanges. It has absolutely a great track record. And who is making the allegation? Do we know enough about that institution? Do we know the motives of that institution? And by short selling, you're making huge amounts of profit. So where should the credibility lie? And I think if there was an International Court of Justice, such reports and such reporting should be brought up there, and the country should be able to say, look, in our growth phase, there is no point in throwing these sort of spanners. We are growing at a blasting pace.
Definitely.
We are doing extremely well on industrial growth. We are doing extremely well as a country. We are robust, we are strong. We have emerged stronger after the election. There's a democratic value system up here. We are not China. Rather, uphold a country like this and respect its diversity and credibility. Character assassination looks very misplaced. And I think this is not in the good spirit. So yes, I agree with you. While the allegations needs to be investigated, agencies which are behind these allegations, the research houses which are behind these allegations, they also need to be investigated. And I think the investors, foreign direct investment institutions, they have also to be made aware where the country is heading, what type of people are made to chair these institutions, what type of rigorous selection procedure is done, and then these positions are done, and how their accounts are scrutinized, and everything about them is so transparently monitored, then the credibility of the country, its regulator, and its chief people who are at the chief positions gets strengthened. Some work will have to be done on this.
With this, thank you so much, Dr. Charan Singh, for your analysis, and it was wonderful having you on the broadcast. U.S. Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris is leading her Republican rival, former President Donald Trump, in 3 battleground states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan by 4 points, according to a latest poll. Earlier, an Ipsos poll showed Harris led Trump nationally 42% to 37% in the race for the November 5th election. Her entry into the race has energized the Democrat camp. President Joe Biden ended his re-election bid on July 21st and endorsed Harris for polls after a disastrous debate performance against Trump in late June. In a rare display of bipartisan agreement, Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has endorsed eliminating taxes on tips for hospitality and service workers, echoing a tax proposal originally put forward by former President Donald Trump just months ago. The announcement came during a campaign rally in Las Vegas on Saturday. Harris and running mate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz addressed a crowd of thousands, including members of Nevada's influential Culinary Workers Union.
It is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America. Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. And when I am president, I will continue that work to bring down prices. I will take on big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging, corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families, and take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans.
U.S. Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris pushed for a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas as tensions in West Asia escalate.
First and foremost, and the President and I have been working on this around the clock, we need to get the hostages out. We need a hostage deal and we need a ceasefire. And I can't stress that strongly enough. It needs to get done, the deal needs to get done, and it needs to get done now.
In a precise operation on Saturday night, Israeli forces killed 19 alleged Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists. Israeli officials claimed that they were in hideout that was actually Hamas command and control center. According to Israel forces spokesperson, the so-called center was embedded inside a mosque in Al-Tabain school compound. As per Israeli claims, these terrorists were operating to carry out attacks against IDF soldiers and the state of Israel from inside the compound. Furthermore, no severe damage was caused to the compound when the terrorists were situated.
Received clear intelligence of the threat posed by these terrorists, and in accordance with international humanitarian law, we took numerous steps to mitigate the risk to civilians, including using aerial surveillance prior to the strike and selecting very precise munitions to avoid civilian casualties. Early this morning, the IDF conducted a precision strike against the terrorists in one specific building of the compound, an area that, according to our intelligence, no women and children were present.
Russian Defense Ministry released a footage on Sunday of what it said to be strikes on Ukrainian tank and drones in the Kursk region. Earlier, Russia had claimed to have destroyed 14 Ukrainian drones and 4 ballistic missiles overnight over the Kursk region. 13 people were injured in the Ukrainian attack on Russia's Kursk region, with 2 in critical condition after debris from a destroyed Ukrainian missile fell onto a 9-story residential building. Updates now on all the action from Paris Olympics 2024. All right, and India's campaign at the 2024 Paris Olympics concluded on Saturday with 5 bronze and 1 silver medal from the 117-member contingent. India will return with 6 medals from Paris, won by Manu Bhaker, Sarabjot Singh, Neeraj Chopra, Aman Sehrawat, Swapnil Kusale and men's hockey team. Neeraj Chopra joins the elite club of Sushil Kumar, PV Sindhu to bag medals at 2 consecutive Olympics. Meanwhile, Swapnil Kusale becomes the first Indian to win an Olympic medal in men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions event. Manu Bhaker also created history by becoming the first Indian post-independence to secure 2 medals in a single Olympic edition. As the Paris Olympics closing ceremony is set to be held tonight, it will serve as a fitting tribute to the spirit of competition and camaraderie that has defined Paris 2024. Let's take a look at this report.
After nearly 2 weeks of exhilarating sports events, the Paris 2024 Olympics will come to a spectacular close with the closing ceremony tonight at the Stade de France. In contrast to the opening ceremony's stunning display on the River Seine, the closing ceremony will be a more traditional event held inside the iconic Stade de France. Nearly 80,000 spectators will come together to honor the athletes and celebrate the enduring spirit of Olympics. Around 10,500 athletes competed around 15 days in 329 medal events across 32 sporting disciplines. Indian sporting stars P.R. Srijesh and Manu Bhaker have been honoured as the country's flag bearers for the Parade of Nations.
Today, the closing ceremony of the Paris Games will take place at the Stade de France, where the athletics and the rugby events took place, and it will be a colorful event. Also, a 12-minute handover ceremony will take place where Paris 2024 will hand over the games to the LA 2028, where the next Olympic Games will takes place. So all in all, a fantastic games, and today it will be the curtains down for the games, and with a fantastic closing ceremony at the Stade de France.
The closing ceremony will also mark the ceremonial extinguishing of the Olympic flame and the official handover of the Olympic flag to the Los Angeles 2028 Organizing Committee, symbolizing the transition to the next Summer Games. American singer Billie Eilish, American rapper Snoop Dogg and the Red Hot Chili Peppers are set to give spectacular performance during the closing ceremony. The performance, which will be a blend of both pre-taped and live segments, will broadcast from Los Angeles. Sports Desk, DD India.
All right, and DD India's Narayan Singh joins us to give more information on what is happening in Paris as the event is all set for the closing ceremony. Hello Narayan, what is happening? Take us through what is happening in Paris now. We have 6 medals in kitty. 1 silver is there, Neeraj Chopra. Making waves all around the globe. What are you getting for us?
Siddharth, today will be we can say that the curtains will come down to this grandest game, the Paris Olympics, and unlike the opening ceremony, which was, we can say that the grandiose event at the Open, and it was at the Seine River, and it was first time the opening ceremony was shifted to a river bank, but this time around the closing ceremony will go for a traditional route. It will be inside the stadium, and this is the Stadium Parc de France where the closing ceremony will take place, and it is the football stadium of the French national team. Also the rugby team also play their matches here, and the most important thing, it is the same stadium where France team defeated Brazil 3-0 in the 1998 World Cup.
Okay.
In itself, it's an iconic stadium, and the sitting capacity of this stadium is around 80,000. All in all, it's going to be spectacular according to reports, as we know that the organizers are tight-lipped about who will come, but the reports are suggesting that Tom Cruise, Snoop Dogg will be there, and the handover ceremony too will take place. The Paris 2024 will hand over it to the LA 2028.
Okay, Narayan, you've told us what is the capacity of this stadium. You've told us that who all, when it comes to celebrities, are expected to come there. You've covered this entire event in Paris, Narayan. Tell us, what is the highlight of this event that you are getting for us from there?
From Indian perspective, if you take a look, Siddharth, in terms of medals, we won 6 medals, 1 less than that of the last time. Last time we won 7 medals. But talking about overall performance, I think it is one of the best performance for Indian contingent. India have 4th places, 6 4th-place finishes. In it, if you calculate these figures, these numbers, definitely if these numbers would have converted into the 3rd place, then India would have touched the double-digit mark. And in that sense, if performance-wise, I think it is one of the best, and the kind of confidence our Indian team carried, winning back-to-back medals in the 2 editions of the Olympics. In hockey, it is a big achievement. Neeraj Chopra is the first track and field, winning 2 back-to-back medals in the Olympic, first gold in Tokyo, now silver in Paris. And Manu Bhaker became the first athlete in the post-independent era to win 2 medals in the single edition of the games. And if we talk about the ski 50-meter rifle 3 position, Swapnil Kusale first time won in that event. So multiple milestones were achieved by the Indian team. So also from the world athletes too, different milestones were achieved. Also we'll remembered for the multiple reasons, like the most greenest game ever, and also there were controversy regarding the gender of the 2 boxers who participated here. Because of the different reason, IBA earlier, the International Boxing Association banned them, but now IOC has cleared them, put them in the category of the female boxers.
Yes.
And also the Seine River controversy also there, that the swimmers there were swimming there, they said that its water is polluted. So many reasons were there.
All right, thank you so much, Narayan, for your analysis. Meanwhile, the Court of Arbitration for Sports has extended time till August 13, 2024 for the sole arbitrator, Dr. Annabel Bennett, in the Indian wrestler Vinesh Phogat versus United World Wrestling case. The hearing on the matter concluded on Friday after it accepted Vinesh's appeal against her ouster for being 100 grams overweight on the morning of her final against eventual gold winner Sarah and Hildebrandt of USA. In her appeal, Fogart requested a joint silver as she was found overweight after she won the semi-final in Paris. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.